Good morning, everyone, and hopefully some will join me now and some will join later on, but it's certainly a Tuesday morning, and so it's 10 o'clock and it's reflection time. And reflection time simply means that I get to explain to you perhaps something that's on my mind, and share something that has happened, or simply that we spend a little bit of time together reflecting on the world that is, the world that might be. And this morning, as the sun begins to shine again, and perhaps we've seen enough of the rain for the moment and things are going to dry up, who knows, it's the time that we spend Tuesday morning now on enjoying ourselves. Part of our summer routine is that every Tuesday morning from 10 till 11:30, and a bit later usually, we have enjoy in the church, which is simply a way to get together, companionship, enjoy company, as we always do. But our theme this morning is for enjoy laughter. So that's the advert, and that's the publicity over for the moment. If you want to come and join us for enjoy laughter, then come along. 10 o'clock we gather, and then we have coffee, tea, table chat, and hopefully a bit of laughter this morning if we've got a bit of luck. So come and join us for that. It'd be great to see you. But really what's on my mind this week and for the last few hours, 12 hours perhaps, was a phrase that was used last night. I met up with a couple of Ukrainian folk and we went along to see what they could usefully find in someone else's house, as it were. We had permission, but welcomed in and to share what we have of excess with those who are needing things and looking for things that they can use and can help to make their room, the place that they're staying in at the moment, the home that they're in from Ukraine, a bit more home-like for them, with things that they would like to have. And maybe not always need, but just like to have, so that it makes things a bit more homely for them, things that they can choose. And last night, as we were doing that, they said, but how can we pay for this? And, well, they don't pay for it as such. There's not a price tag on anything. And everything that is given and shared is done out of absolute generosity and hopefully an understanding of what people are going through. I say understanding, but there's no way we can really understand, but perhaps we can begin to empathise and sympathise. So, how can we pay for this? The answer is quite simply, you're not asked to pay for it, not at the moment. But what was said was that we pay it forward. Whatever we receive in our need, and whenever that might be, and I think we've all been there at some point, where someone has shared something with us, and maybe material things, maybe giving us a loan or able to buy things for us, but maybe also just giving their time or sharing their talents, being with us. Paying forward is the way that we can then help someone else in the future. We are helped now. We cannot repay that at the moment, but what we can do is that later in our own lives, and maybe today and maybe tomorrow and maybe in 10 years' time, when we are in a different situation and a different position, we will be able to pay forward, pay to someone else, give to someone else, share with someone else, the kindness, the generosity that we have received ourselves. Paying things forward, it's a great gift to have and a great way to live. Because when we see someone in need, surely we don't give expecting to receive. When we see a friend who needs something, and maybe our time, we don't do so in order that they're going to give back their time immediately the next day because we have been generous with ours on day one. We do so because people are in need and we are able to help. And isn't that what Jesus asked us to do? Isn't that what God expects us to do? Not to share, not to invite, not to give because of what we will get in return, but rather to do these things simply because of kindness and a desperation to help people. Paying it forward. And we can do that in our own lives. Perhaps we are in a position now to pay forward what others have done for us in the past. Times when we perhaps didn't have the money that we have now. Perhaps times when we didn't have the time that we have now. Or perhaps it's something that someone has done for us, helped us in our homes, a bit of DIY or gardening or something which, well, some of us maybe never be able to pay back in kind, but perhaps we have gifts that we have honed and we can share now. Paying forward, giving generously, is not about what we get back. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is because what we actually get back is an awareness that we are one. I'm not talking about that warm, fuzzy feeling of thinking, oh, I've done something good for someone, isn't that nice? I mean that we get an understanding of the world, a better understanding of the world as we actually see the needs that are there. A better understanding of people as we perhaps learn a little bit of what they are going through. When we get a little bit more understanding of how they are coping. And so many of our Ukrainian friends are refugees from other countries. So many of our family and friends here in the UK, so many of our neighbours cope. They cope because they hold their heads up high, they get on with what they are able to do, and have very much a can-do attitude. I don't imagine that any of them always have that can-do attitude, but rather perhaps when the doors are shut and when they're on their own, or when they're walking perhaps, or just sitting by themselves somewhere, they have those moments where we think, not so much I can, but can I? And that is when what we do in our kindness perhaps will fit best. When they say, can I? Well, not on my own. And no one should have to cope on their own, but with others round about, whether that be family or friends, or indeed strangers. Strangers who become friends. Perhaps we need to realise first and foremost that we are not called to live as independently as some of us think we should. That we are called to live in community, in family, and together, helping one another, step by step, moment by moment. So perhaps today, if there is a challenge at all in those reflections, I don't know if there is, but perhaps today there is a challenge to be kind to someone, not for what you will receive in return, but knowing that they will, in their turn, be kind to others as they can. And perhaps remembering, looking back and reflecting and thinking of those times when somebody did something wonderful for you, when there is no way you could repay them, no way that you could give anything back in return, but nor was it expected. God's love for each one of us and God's love for the world is given with no expectation of a return of that love. And yet when there is, isn't that just phenomenal? This world needs to be flooded with mercy and kindness and gentleness. Our world, our community here, needs to be flooded with kind words and smiles. And perhaps, if we can, to bring some laughter to bear. Enjoy laughter. It is about having fun. It is about smiling. It is about the lighter moments of life, perhaps, and yet it's also there in the darker moments too, to perhaps lift us, to perhaps help us to bring ourselves to some common ground. Whatever you are doing today, I hope you do enjoy some laughter, but I also hope that you enjoy passing on some kindness to someone else. Maybe it will be to a stranger that you pass in the shop, in the aisles or the tills or wherever. Or maybe it's someone you know who really needs to have some of your time today. Whatever it is, whatever you decide, enjoy it yourself. And know not just that warm fuzzy feeling of doing something good, but know that deep peace of doing something good and kind that our world sorely needs. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and bring that love. God bless.